Well, thank you for coming back today, folks. Very excited to have you. I've been in sports with my kids and myself for decades and decades, and I have found so much good to come from physical therapy and working with physical therapists. So I'm very excited to have a physical therapist on our wonderful event here for health and wellness, and especially somebody like this fellow who has over 30 years experience as a physical therapist working with athletes on tour, on the professional tennis tour and other athletes. It's amazing to have somebody with this kind of experience. So I want to introduce you to Mr. Ian Barstow, who's had 30 years as a physical therapist. And Ian, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate you coming on.
Oh, g'day, Clyde. Thank you so much. It's a great honor to be here with you today and talk with you.
And you see, he says good day, so you can tell he's not from the U.S., right?
Well, deep south.
Yeah, deep south,
Deep.
all the way down to the South Pole, practically.
All the way down under.
Well, thank you for coming so far to be on this event with us. We really appreciate it. So tell us how you got into physical therapy and what you do and how you help people and the whole story.
So I started in Australia. I did very well in school, so I could have done medicine, but I had a lot of experience as a child playing tennis with back pain. So I was very interested in physiotherapy, and it's a really good profession in Australia. And there I studied under what has become the father of physical medicine, Vladimir Yanda. He was a Czech doctor. And then my interest in sports medicine took me abroad. So I came to the US to specialize in sports medicine. And I worked in various sports medicine clinics, working my way up to be director of spine care for physical therapy at University of Florida.
Wow.
After I went on to go on tour with athletes because I have a second degree in strength and conditioning. And today, so for 20 years, I traveled on the tennis tour. And then today I've settled down in beautiful Delray Beach and work all types of athletes and all types of people, but treating everybody with a high performance approach. So that's what my side is called, human performance optimization. And that's what I try and do from the kids to the professional MMA guys that I work with.
Wow. And Delray is a great place for you to be, right? Because that's where all the tennis players live.
Yeah, it's a center for tennis in the world, probably the center for women's tennis, but there's so many great sports here. MMA is also one of the centers in the world for here. Right. So it's a great climate for athletes.
Yeah, it really is. We've had the MMA guys stay at our vacation rentals in Delray. Yeah,
right.
So some of the really famous ones, So
they're all
Yeah, and then the tennis players. And as I said, I told you, my son, who was on pro tour for 3 years, is in Delray now too. So we have to get you together with him. And he's always, he's always needing help, with his back or knees or elbow.
Well, we all do. We all need physical therapy, especially today in this sedentary, only 2 out of 3 of us are overweight. They show that only about 20% of people meet the actual guidelines for exercise that's put out by the American College of Sports Medicine. So we all need to move more. Motion is lotion, movement is medicine.
Right. Yeah. So what do you recommend for people in terms of movement as you get older? What kinds of exercise are really good for the body? What aren't? I mean, what would you say to people in terms of general advice?
The best movement is the one that you'll do. So we first got to figure out that. If you like tennis, that's good tennis. If you like running, it's running. And then we need to reverse engineer that into the basic human movements. And there are just essential movements that we all need to do. We all need to, do a lower body push, which would be a squat, a lower body pull, which would be a deadlift type activity, an upper body push, which would be like a push-up or a bench press, an upper body pull, which would be a row. And then we need to do core flexion extension, so exercise on the physio ball. This way we work the body in the whole kinetic chain from the ground up. And I treat everybody the same. Believe it or not, they can be an 80-year-old. My mom gets treated exactly the same way that I treat the pro MMA guys. It's just dialing it back, way simpler exercises, simpler, less weight, and obviously just cleaning up the movements.
What do you think about swimming?
I think swimming is fantastic. I think, it's very easy on the body, so it's a great lifelong activity. I always, I just think the best exercise is the one you will do.
Right. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Hippocrates says walking was man's best medicine. So I think it's essential that we just move and move.
All we have to do is listen to about 2 or 3 things that Hippocrates said, right? Food is medicine, medicine is food. Walking is great. I mean, it's really not that difficult, is it?
No, the problem is mainstream medicine has shifted away from Hippocrates' teaching. For example, in nutrition, the average medical school spends 23.9 hours learning about nutrition. That's less than a weekend course. And, so Hippocrates, which medicine is founded on, did say, let your food be your medicine be your food. But we've drifted so far, and the doctors are experts at pharmacology and surgery. And in medical emergencies, they're unbelievable what they can do.
Right.
They can transplant your heart, but they can't protect us from having a heart attack. When 2 out of 3 people, 80% of the $3.2 trillion spent in America on medical is due to preventable diseases like heart attacks, like type 2 diabetes, like metabolic disease, like a lot of MSK, musculoskeletal conditions. So I think, physical therapy and non-pharmacological, non-surgical approach is really essential, especially in today, when we do not move enough. We systematically erased all movement from our lifestyle. And I don't think that's a great thing.
Oh, I don't either. I've always, I've been in the meditation movement for 30 years, or actually 50. And
that's one of my pillars. I have 4 pillars when I treat an athlete.
Okay.
I want them to move right. I want them to eat right. I want them to think right. And I want them to recover right. And recovery, number 1, sleep is number 1. Number 2 is meditation.
Right. Yeah. So, I've been meditating twice a day for 50 years.
Kai, that's unbelievable. And that's all the studies showing us. But we don't have to look at the studies. You have to look at like Djokovic. I mean, the late, who's the basketball player this past, Kobe Bryant, he used to meditate every day. I mean, look at Djokovic on those match points in tennis. He's doing a lot of meditation. It's critical for us, especially when I think we have 50 stressful events per day, and most people are just activating the fight and flight. We're just too wired up. There's too much stimuli. So switching off and going in is critically important for human performance optimization, which you already know, Clive.
Once I made it a habit of meditating twice a day, in the morning and the afternoon, every day, it's like part of life. It's like you go to bed at night and you sleep. I meditate in the morning and I meditate in the afternoon. That's what I do. I mean, it's just, part of my daily routine, and it makes such a huge difference. It really does.
Yeah. I try and do 10 minutes at the end with all my athletes, like of meditation.
Right.
And that's, I think it's, we get too focused on the small things. We major in minor things. You've got to see the big picture. It's like the story I told you about the elephant. You have 5 blindfolded men grab an elephant, and one grabs the tail and says the elephant's a rope. The next one grabs the leg and says, you idiot, it's like a tree trunk. And the next one grabs the tusk and he says, both of you are wrong. It is like a spear. We tend to really get experts in these small things, but we never sit back and we never see the elephant. And that's, today we have so much complex, specialized stuff that people miss meditation. They just miss stretching. They miss eating vegetables. They miss really being brilliant at the basics.
Yeah, which makes so much difference. And I don't know about you, but I see people that are healthy and eating right and exercising and moving their body, living till they're well into their hundreds and still are healthy,
Absolutely. There's 70,000 100-year-olds living in Japan. They do it right.
They do it right there. Yeah.
70,000 people over 100. Yet in America, it's hard to find. Most people I ask them, do you know anybody over 100? And they won't.
Yeah, I know. One of my heroes is Robert Marchand in Paris. Have you heard of him? He's 110 and he's a biker, bicycle rider, and he would be doing events, competitive events in his hundreds. and you know, he'd always win because he was in the 100-year-old category.
Well, so we get great knowledge from the blue zones, and there's Okinawa,
Yeah,
there's Loma, Sardinia, and there's Icarus, and there's all these areas. They show us that, again, it's about being brilliant at the basics, that these people eat right, they move more, they have good social community, and they have good support. They know how to, they're much more balanced than we are in this hectic society.
yeah. I have a little place down in Costa Rica in the blue zone, and
Beautiful.
yeah, and it's amazing. These people are so laid back. I mean, they just, you know, they don't stress about anything, you know, and they're just very sweet. They're very nice, and they're, you know, they just, you know, it's an amazing experience. We go down there and we just feel our bodies just relaxing, you know, and
Yeah.
it's just it's really nice, you know, to do that.
It's amazing. I think we have to kind of marry both worlds. So a lot of the old with what this the wondrous technologies that we have today, like
Right.
have headspace that will help you, and calm that will help you meditate, and these things are amazing. But we tend to get monkey minded and focusing on them. People just are not eating right, they're not moving right, they're not thinking right, and they're not recovering right. These
Right.
basic 4 pillars. And then when I treat people, we dig down to each one of those, and we talk about what a pro athlete would do. How would I get him to move better? And then we break that down, or how do we get them to eat better? And then I treat everybody kind of with this high performance mindset.
Yeah. Okay. That's very, very interesting. So when people come to you, what's the first thing you do? Like do an evaluation of
Yeah.
some kind?
Evaluation. So we evaluate 17 biomarkers. Basically, we're evaluating their movement, their mobility, their strength, the movement they like to do. Then we look at their eating. Are they eating good carbs? Are they eating clean proteins, healthy fats? Are they hydrating well? Then we'll go down, look at mindset. Do they have belief in what we're doing? Do they have a good mission? What's their why is a huge question. Why do you want to get better? You have grandkids, you want to be fit and healthy and see them, maybe go to Wimbledon, something like this. You have to have a big why, and then you have to build in discipline. Like you said, habits, discipline of good habits. At first, it's a pain in the ass, but after a while, good habits, they lead to a healthy lifestyle. And then finally, sometimes we have to be mentally tough. I think one thing that I notice is just getting mentally weaker. And this is just my opinion, but as a society, we're just not as strong. And that's one thing I learned from the athletes, how strong we humans can be and how amazing we can be.
Yeah.
Look at the statistics. Nearly everybody is getting worse. America, I think, is the first time the kids are not going to live longer than their parents. But there is one tribe scattered around the world that has gotten better for hundreds of years, and that's athletes. I mean, if you look at Iliad Kipriji and his 2-hour marathon, you've got to think it's incredible. Put the treadmill on 13.1 miles per hour and try and do that for 400 meters. It's unbelievable. He could do that for 2 hours.
Oh, yeah, the people like Rich Roll, the ultra athletes,
Yes.
I'm a big fan of his. I've read his books, and it's just so inspiring, the things he did. He did 5 Ironman triathlons in 7 days.
Yes, it's all. I mean, there's just so
Yeah.
everything I talk in stories, and I use athletes I use athletes that have actually done it scientifically right. So I use them to tell the story. Like, no one wants to know about meditation, but hey, when I tell them this is what Kobe Bryant does 15 minutes every morning, or this is what Djokovic does every minute, and this is what LeBron's now leaning on, they go, wow, really? They like that. It's a better way of kind of getting the message through to
Yeah.
athletes.
We had when my oldest daughter was an Ironman triathlete, and we went to British Columbia to see her race, and in an Ironman. And the lady that was there was the famous she's a nun. They call her the Iron Nun, Sister
Yeah,
Donna Booter. You heard of her? And
No, I-
yeah, she actually beat my daughter. She was 72 at the time. In an Ironman, and she was doing Ironman length triathlons until she was 89 years old. And, and she's 90 now, and she's still competing. She doesn't do Ironmans anymore because she can't finish them in 19 hours anymore. Because at 19 hours they take you off the course.
Yeah. Right, right, right.
But you know, she's still working out and exercising, competing, but just, you know, smaller, like marathon, half Ironmans, you know. So
Yeah,
amazing.
it's the blue zones. If you look at them, the one in Loma Linda, because it's probably the best because it's in US. There's a doctor out there, a cardiac surgeon, performing until his 90s. And when he got a quote to build a fence, the price was too high, so he built it himself. You know, this is in his late 90s. It's quite amazing, you know, how we can optimize ourselves if we do things right. And really, it's if we move better, if we eat better, if we think better and we recover better.
I think it's like a collective psychological thing that, you know, parents were my parents, when they were 65, they all retired. And then a lot of them were dead not that much longer after that. They'd stopped doing stuff, you know, and, you know, it's, that was it.
Right. The two commonest years to die are when you're born and when you retire.
Yeah. Yeah.
The two times that you're most likely to die. But you know, and today we have so much to live for. We have wondrous technology that can help us do things and help us improve, you know, the basic things so that we can live, you know, longer.
Right. Right. I think, what do you think about goals? I mean, for me, I like to set goals and it keeps me active. Like, I have this goal every year to do this ragbri race across Iowa, where you ride your bike across the state of Iowa, 470 miles. And my grandsons do that with me every year. And so what does that do for me? First of all, I know if I don't get my miles in every week, I am not going to make it across the state of Iowa with my grandsons and be able to keep up with it. So I have to it forces me to try to get at least, you know, 50 miles a week in, at least, you know, on my bike. And because I know where I'm going to be in the middle of July in Iowa if I don't do that, you know? So I've got a goal that's keeping me going. And I've always felt like, you know, that's been important for me.
Yeah, I think goals, you know, the specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound, that SMART principle is really, but the most important thing about goals is why. And why, I think you hit it right there. You want to be with your grandkids. And that's amazing. You know, to do something physically active with your grandkids. How many grandparents could do that nowadays?
Not too many, you know.
I think it's 0.0001%. So, you know, fantastic for you, Clyde. I mean, no. And goals are, you know, like I said, I lean on all the pro athletes. So the king of goal setting is Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps started when he was 11 years old. If you hear stories about him, at one stage he wanted to get into the national team, and they wrote all the times down of 3 events. And a year later, he came in within 0.1 of a second of all of them.
Wow.
You know, he has dream, plan, reach. If you go on YouTube, you'll see just, I mean, for the power of goal setting, you just got to listen to Michael Phelps, because it's unbelievable what him and his coach Bowman did. You know,
what was the name of that again? I'd like to share that with everyone. Michael Phelps' book is
no, it's a YouTube thing. I listen to so many of these. But he calls it's called Dream, Plan, Reach. So he says you got to have dream goals, but then you have to plan the smaller goals. And the most important goal is the goal you're going to do tomorrow. And then you have to try and reach for them. But he has a whole thing with his coach on goal setting. And they just go over it for, I think, 20 minutes. But it's just amazing, you know, the times, because everything he had were times, and he had them written on the fridge, you know, and he had them years. And this became, like you said, goals are very, very important. So you need to have, you know, specific goals that are measurable, that are attainable, that are realistic and time bound. And then you have to have a big why. Why do you want to do that? You understand? Why did he want to do it? He wanted to be the greatest of all time. He wanted to do something that no one's ever done before. And now he's trying to help kids from not drowning, you know, with preventing, you know, drowning in young kids because they fall in a pool and they can't swim. So, but you've got to listen to Michael Phelps, you know, that's for goal setting.
All right, I want to repeat that one more time for everyone. Michael Phelps is on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Dream, Plan, Reach. Michael Phelps, 20 minutes. That sounds amazing. Thank you for sharing. That's really good stuff. Yeah.
one of my chapters in the book that I'm writing is on.
Tell us about the book you're writing.
Well, the book is about high performance optimization. So it's about treating everyone like, well, in today's sick care, 80% of the money is spent on preventable diseases. So we need a better way. And what better way than the only people that are getting better every year are professional athletes. I mean, you see what they're doing on the tennis courts now, Clyde. That slide. I mean, you wouldn't dream of that. They just get better and better.
Look at Federer in his late 30s now, right? I mean,
yeah, it's unbelievable what you can do with all this new knowledge that we have, but you have to have a system to do it. So what I do is I say these are the 4 fundamentals of human performance optimization. One is moving better, the second one is eating better, the third one's thinking better, the fourth one's recovering better. And then we dig down deeper into each one of those. And so, like I said, for the movement, we look at mobility. Djokovic spends a lot of time stretching. In the old days, we relegated stretching to the last 10 minutes and most of the athletes skipped it. Now I have guys paying me a lot of money to stretch them for an hour. Right. I spend 1 stretching. Now, what's your name? Gail Monfils came here, had an off season. I was stretching for an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. So they all the athletes are realizing the importance of optimizing not only your strength but your mobility.
Yeah, and they really go hand in hand, don't they? And
they go hand in.
And yes. Then we were talking before we started about the importance of stretching between weight exercises, right? When you're well,
it just maximizes your time in the gym, because if you spend, when we're working out, most of our time in the workout is spent between our bench presses and our squats. So if you're tight in, say, you can't touch your toes, why not use that time to working on stretching? And then you don't increase the length, because the biggest complaint for working out is, it takes too long, an hour a day to keep the doctor away. But that's the truth. We need to do that hour. They did long-term studies of the Harvard alumni, and they've shown that 1 hour is kind of, if you do longer, you may have periods when you can do it, but you kind of burn out. Adherence to exercise, usually they do it first thing in the morning for about not longer than an hour, and that's really critical. Of course, there's different people that will do long distance, and that's a whole different ball game. But right. For most of us, an hour a day is what we really need to do. And as I said, only about 1 in 5 people actually follow that prescription. Right. And that's where physical therapy is so important. And then if you look at the increase in musculoskeletal diseases, I mean, low back pain, it's just everybody it's just going up and up. And then unfortunately, many of the treatments are passive. They don't get people moving. When I worked at Shands, University of Florida, the head orthopedic surgeon said, I don't care what you do, but everyone must walk for 30 minutes by the end of the program. He says these people are so unhealthy that they need to be moving more. And that was what we had to do. We could do whatever our treatments were. It was to get the patient to move better and encourage them to move better.
Yeah, I think people just have to have a realization that these bodies were made to move.
Exactly.
And if you're not moving it, if you're not engaged in some kind of a physical activity on a regular basis, you're going to have problems. The body it'll fail on you, in many different ways.
Yeah, all you have to do is do a long haul flight on a plane and be told to sit there, for 30 hours, and you're like, my God, I need to move.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, movement is medicine. It's and again, that's the problem, is that in medical field, they're very good at treating medical emergencies. If you get shot, if you get in a car accident, but that's not what they see 80% of the time. 80% of the time, they see people that need to move better, but in their curriculum, they learn nothing about it. Which is scary. Don't learn anything on kind of lifestyle medicine. Hopefully that will change in the future. But that's where physical therapists that really emphasize movement, because unfortunately some of them don't do that. They what we call shake and bake. They put you on the hot pack and they rub you, and then they wait for you to heal yourself.
So where are you located now?
I work out of Gym Temple, in Delray Beach. And then I do travel I have some clients in Miami. They're actually my personal friends. Okay. Clients. He had a heart attack. He's very rich. Had a heart attack when he was 34. Sold his company for millions and millions, and then wanted to be treated like a pro athlete.
Right.
So he has four stents in his heart. But if you saw what we do with him, you would be amazed. I mean, he looks like a pro athlete.
Wow, that's tremendous. That's tremendous.
Yeah.
So how do people find you online? Do you have a website?
They find me. I don't have a website, just Instagram. HPO, so Human Performance Optimization 360 on Instagram.
HPO 360 on Instagram. HPO 360 on Instagram.
Yeah, so Human Performance Optimization 360. Mostly I work with a lot of younger athletes, so kind of Instagram's the way. They don't go on email, so that's how, do it. And I post a lot. You'll see a lot of more the sports stuff I do. I don't post my treatments because that's confidential.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. Well, that's tremendous. So what major takeaway would you like to leave people with today in terms of what the most important thing is that they can do to start in this path of, greater health and longevity?
Well, I think movement is medicine, and the best movement is the one you'll do. You need to couple that with eating better. So eat, like my grandma used to say, eat your veggies. I tell all the athletes, what tree did that grow on? They try and show me all these supplements. We need to get back to eating real food. Then I think we have to have a mindset, really live in positivity and believe that you have incredible potential. The body heals itself. We have to really optimize the environment for our body to heal itself. And then the final thing would be, I think we have to learn to switch off. And, like you're doing some meditation. Everybody should meditate at least 10 minutes per day.
Find a meditation that works for you that you will do is what I've always told people. I taught TM, Transcendental Meditation, for about 6 years full time, my wife and I. And I saw it was very rewarding doing it because it's such an easy technique, and it's a technique that anybody can do. And, it's one that people will continue doing. So that's, that was one that worked for me. But there are a lot of different kinds, of meditation. You just got to find one that works for you, right?
Yes, I agree. And the one I use most athletes is Headspace. The Lakers used it. The guy who did all the meditations with the Los Angeles Lakers, that's one of the famous stories I tell you. Is also in, I think it was Game 7 between the last game between the Celtics and Lakers, and they go to the war room. The war room's where they watch all the tape, and they go in there. The reporter goes in there and he's like, "What are they doing?" And they're all sitting around meditating.
Which team was that? The Lakers?
That's Lakers. It's Kobe Bryant was there. Kobe Bryant, that's where he learned it under the coach. You and I, the name is escaping me right now. He's very
Phil, the big tall guy.
Yes,
He was a meditator.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, it is so. There's not an more important game in basketball than Game 7, and there's not more money invested to help this team beat the other team. And they're in the war room with the videotape, and what are they doing? They're switching off, and they go on and win.
Wow,
so
that's a great story. That's a great story.
So that's, again, I have all these stories from the book that I'm coming out with, and I think that we need to understand the importance of being brilliant at the basics. So move better, eat better, think better, and recover better. People.
I am so glad that we met and that we were put together, because this has been one of the most inspiring interviews we've done for this whole summit.
So. I can just see from you and your history that you're in great shape, mate, and you're going to live to 100 and win that race.
Oh, I'm planning 120. That's my goal. Serious.
My mom's planning to win the hundreds in tennis.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we're gonna get together and go out to dinner with my son and his wife, and have a nice dinner. And I really want you to meet them and for them to meet you. So thank you so much. This is awesome.
Thank you. It's a great event, and I hope the people really get healthier from it.
Absolutely. All right. So hopefully people will take you up on your offer to show them how to do the best movement for them and make the right diet choices and set those goals and all that. All right.
You've already got it. You've already got the method. Thank you.
That's right. All right. Thank you so much, Ian. You have a great day now. And thank you everyone for joining today. We really appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you, guys.